एक academic discussion हो सकती है, लेकिन short में Article 370 was something to convince Kashmiris, on, also for the international world, that UN resolutions are still pending. ये अभी disputed territory है. 35A guaranteed our land rights, यानी कि कोई non-Kashmiri वहाँ पे नहीं आ सकता है. तो जब मैंने कहा कि there is legalized settler colonization, this is how they legalize it, by removing that. लेकिन बात ये भी है, उससे पहले भी बिहारी
इलीगल भी हो रहा था,
गुजराती थे, ऐसे ही लोग वहाँ, मतलब शहीद गिलानी साहब ने कहा था that there are already 500,000 non-Kashmiris living inside Kashmir. And I personally have met those non-Kashmiris जिनके पास state subject भी था, जो मेरे पास भी नहीं था, लेकिन उनके पास था. So all India did was legalize settler colonization and demographic change. That is what the 370 and 35A basically meant to us.
So how it changed the liberation movement and what effects it produced?
Now this is an interesting question, because 2019, it wasn't just because of 370 and 35A, but the way that they shut down Kashmir, blanket ban, no information, no news, nothing for months. But is had tak that, people weren't able to communicate with their families. I remember a case where a man, he couldn't get in touch with his fiancée, Mangetar. 4 months later, when communications opened, he found out that she had died. For whatever reason, but she had died. 4 months he thought he was still married. A boy couldn't find he couldn't communicate with his mother. And one day, by accident, he saw a news chat, on the news, he saw that his mother was on the news. She was just walking by and he saw that. I remember case studies where women were burying a woman was trying to go to the hospital, and as usual, the army wouldn't let her go. And she gave birth on the side of the road. And she lost the baby because she needed medical care. They wouldn't let her. There were cases where you couldn't bury your relatives, anybody that needed burial, to go to the Qabristan. Ijazat hi nahi thi. People were burying their loved ones in the back garden. In the garden, they were burying them. Milk was banned.
This is what we don't know.
Milk was banned. Medicine was banned. Healthcare was banned. Food was banned. Everything was shut down. But aap soche ki when you have a situation, media was banned. All the media houses were shut down. Communications to alag baat hai. There was no communication whatsoever. In fact, WhatsApps, if you're offline for a certain period of time, they deactivate WhatsApp for you. Ye kisi ko pata nahi tha. Sirf Kashmiri ko pata hai. Because it happened to us. We've had the longest internet shutdown in history. Anywhere in the world, you can't compete with Kashmir. That was the situation.
Not even in Palestine.
Not even Palestine. 8-year-old children were taken from them in the middle of the night from their mother's lap and arrested. Jo bhi leader hamare tha, arrested. Jo bhi journalist tha, arrested. Jo bhi civil society ka tha, arrested. Jo bhi bada businessman tha, arrested. Jo bhi imam tha, arrested. They took our entire leadership from A to Z, from top to bottom, so that कि कोई organize ना करे a resistance. When I mean resistance, I mean going to the streets to protest. जो basic human right है किसी का, let alone stone belting दूर की बात है, just to organize protesting. There is dam हुआ, मतलब it was so much suffocation inside Kashmir. There was fear. I cannot even describe to you the type of fear that existed inside Kashmir. Just imagine that you cannot move, you cannot breathe, everything is banned, information is banned, you don't know what's going on. Jin logon ke saath Article 370 or 35 ho raha tha, unko pata hi nahi tha, hame pata tha. Imagine the fear cycles inside Kashmir. And imagine when they arrest children as young as 8 years old, and our leadership all the way up to 80 years old, and they put them in jail hundreds, maybe even thousands of miles in various parts of India, not inside Kashmir. Parents cannot afford to go and travel every other day to
meet
Karnataka, to West Bengal to meet their loved ones. It's simply just not possible to do that regularly. They broke the spirit and the spine of Kashmiris. They beat them down to such an extent कि कोई आवाज नहीं उठा पा रहा है. I mean, there are still pockets. You cannot kill the Tehreek.